Yeah, thanks, Tim. And if we skip straight into the corporate slide, straight through the disclaimers, and really what I want to touch on here is we've got a very strong board and management team directing this company, and with that, we've also got both board and management have got a strong shareholding, so we're well aligned with the rest of the shareholder group and really want the same outcome, which is to create immense value. The other thing I'll point to is our market cap, $61 million as of close on Wednesday, or slightly over that. And really that value is underpinned by our large gold resource in the Murchison in Western Australia. So it's a fantastic address, and it's a very large gold resource. So if you value us on that alone, our EV per resource ounce is around $55, $60 per ounce, which we feel is very cheap. If we move to the next slide, so outside of our 1.1 million ounce gold resource, we've got an exciting gold discovery in the Albany-Fraser region. That's the same region that the multi-million ounce Tropicana gold deposit sits in, or sits within. And while we were down there looking for gold, we've discovered these thick seams of high-grade clay-type rare earth, which, given the opportunity in these forward-facing commodities and the demand for them, driven by the move away from the hydrocarbon economy. So you need these rare earths for permanent magnet motors that we see in electric vehicles and wind turbines and the like. We see that as a huge blue sky opportunity. So between the gold that underwrites the value, the Expiration, and that's a growing gold story as well, and the rare earths, we've really got a couple of things that to focus on. So if we move to the next slide. So Murchison Gold Project, for us, that was our key asset. We set the business up around this. It's located, as the name suggests, in the Murchison gold fields. We have a very large resource there. It's close to infrastructure, so it's well supported. We understand the geology there, and we're looking to grow that resource. So if you look at, we've also got a plan to put this project into production. The work we did in December of last year was the first step we took towards commercial, framing that production plan. It outlined a project that delivers $180 million worth of free cash. That's after paying all the capital back and all of our operating costs. So if you look at our current market cap, that's 3 times our current market cap in free cash flow. And look, we think that's just the beginning. It was the first step towards that plan. We've got to put it into production. We're currently working on a pre-feasibility study that'll be released in the next couple of months. And really the focus for us now is growing that resource and making that project scale up. So much larger production profile, longer mine life. And if we move to the next slide, this is a long section through one of our deposits, and it just highlights some of the opportunities we see at this project. So we completed some drilling beneath the pits to understand the mineralisation below those pits and try and identify an underground mining opportunity at our Turnberry deposit. What we're seeing in that drilling is very broad zones of gold mineralisation, 40 to 50 metres wide, and sitting next to that broad zones of open pit style mineralisation, we're seeing these very high grade lenses of gold that are very much amenable, or we consider them to be very much amenable to underground mining. So there's certainly opportunity to expand that resource. In addition to the deeper drilling, we also identified the extension of these high grade shallow lodes that sit outside of the mineral resource. And excitingly, if you move to the next slide, we're seeing very broad zones of gold mineralisation to the south of that Turnberry deposit. So this is the shear zone that hosts this mineralisation is 7 kilometres long. We know it's very fertile. There's obviously over 600,000 ounces at Turnberry. We're starting to intercept mineralisation at St Anne's, and St Anne's doesn't have a mineral resource attached to it. So that's really exciting. Outside of Turnberry and St Anne's, there's been very limited drilling. So there's a huge search space. The greenstone, the mafic rocks that host that mineralisation and that shear zone that provides the conduit for those gold-bearing fluids where they've put the mineralisation in place, that extends all the way through Turnberry, through St Anne's, and provides a fantastic target for us. And one thing that we've identified, and this has led to an improvement in the share price over the last week, is this very high grade mineralisation that you'll see on the next slide at St. Anne's. So you'll see some of the results we put out on Wednesday of this week. 20 metres at 20 grams per tonne, 32 metres at 16. Absolutely extraordinary grade. And this is very shallow. St. Anne's is something that we've only recently started to drill test, and we're getting these fantastic results. So there's a number of holes that are outstanding to the south of those two high-grade broad zones of high-grade mineralisation. We expect to get those results within the next fortnight. Again, this area has only been lightly drilled, very shallow drilling. We're continuing to drill there now, so we're drilling to the south of these very high-grade intercepts, and very excited by what we see. And if we move to the next slide, this gives you an indication of why we're getting so excited. Again, I said shallow mineralisation, but very, very high grade. And you can see the chip trays on the right-hand side of the slide. That shows the solid quartz interval that we intersected, this 20 metres at 20 grams per tonne. And then on the bottom right-hand side of the slide, you can see some of the very large nuggets of gold that were panned out of that quartz interval. So again, we've only just started to drill St. Anne's effectively. We've got a large number of drill holes outstanding. A lot of that drilling is in and around below and to the south of these very high grade intercepts. We're very excited by what we're seeing in those drill holes. We don't have the assays yet, but certainly we see strong continuity between the drilling, and the geochemical signature is very encouraging. So we're very pleased by what we're seeing, and obviously eager to see the results, or the assay results, for the holes in and around these very high grade intervals. Now, I mentioned we expect to get those in approximately a fortnight. If we move to the next slide. So that really covers off on our Murchison project. It's really exciting, and certainly looking to grow significantly with the St. Anne's results. Outside of the Murchison, but something very much complementary, is our Circle Valley project. We went down there and started drilling for gold. Originally, we've subsequently identified, in addition to really broad zones of high-grade gold mineralisation, we've identified these thick seams of clay-type rare earths. The rare earths is pervasive across the entirety of our tenure. We can see that in the drilling, and given our early mover advantage in that region, we're able to secure a very large land package over this clay rare earth type mineralisation. I'll talk a little bit more about rare earths in a second, but if we move to the next slide, I'll just cover off on the gold. So Circle Valley gold exploration. This is the reason we went down to the Albany Fraser originally, looking for gold. We've been very successful in that regard. You can see some of the intercepts on the left-hand side of the slide there. Our very first RC drill hole was drilled in January of this year. We hit 23 metres at 5 grams per tonne. This tenure has had 29, less than 30 RC drill holes across the entirety of that 222 square kilometres. It's had very little exploration. Where we have drilled, we've hit these very thick zones of gold, and look, we haven't closed off the strike of this mineralisation, and we'll be back down there later this year. Importantly, all of our drilling has been focused at Anomaly A, and that's the smaller of the two anomalisms in the northern half of the tenure. Anomaly B and C and fence line, that's a 5.5 kilometre striking, 1 kilometre north to south gold anomalism that we've identified in air core drilling. It's never been drilled into the fresh rock, but certainly when you look at that, shares very similar anomalism to Anomaly A, where we have drilled into the fresh rock. And we're very excited to get to, or anticipate getting back there later this year to go and drill test that northern area. If we move to the next slide, you'll see why we're getting so excited by this gold mineralisation at Circle Valley, and it's because of that multi-million ounce opportunity or potential we see in this region. So Tropicana, it's had close to 10 million ounces in resource at one point. It's been mining for about 10 years now, and it still hosts nearly 5 million ounces in resource. So it's a significant deposit. What you're looking at there on the slide, on the left-hand side is a section through early drilling in Tropicana, and on the right-hand side is a section through the drilling we've done at Circle Valley and Anomaly A, both exactly the same scale. So you can see the scale is very, or the size of and geometry of this deposit at Anomaly A is very similar to Tropicana, and importantly, the intervals and grades we're seeing are very, very similar. The other important thing is, and this is why we're getting so excited, it's not just seeing the gold. We're in that same orogenic belt. We're seeing the trace element budget very similar to Tropicana, so very high grade silver, molybdenum, barium, rubidium, all of those point to a very similar style of mineralization to Tropicana. If we move to the next slide, I'll just quickly touch on the rare earths, and this is early days for us, but a very exciting opportunity. The thing that you want to know with your rare earth deposits, and particularly clay deposits, is you need to have scale, you need to have grade, and you need to understand the metallurgy. Now, we certainly have the scale. We've got that at Circle Valley and at our sister project at Cascade. We've definitely got the grade, and the metallurgy is something we're working on, and our early results are very positive. If we move to the next slide, just to touch on the grades we're seeing at Cascade, they're 2 times the highest grade we see at Circle Valley. So this is really exciting for us. The tenure is 10 times the size. So Circle Valley is 222 square kilometres. Cascade is over 2,000 square kilometres. So we've got the scale, and as I said, the final part of that is the metallurgy, and we're working towards that. And that's something we'll have a lot more information over the next 12 months. We move to the final slide. I'll just round out the presentation before questions. And really the message is we've got a very large gold mineral resource in Murchison, tier 1 address. That resource is going to grow. We know that from the results we're getting from St. Anne's and outside of the resource at Turnberry. We're aggressively pursuing that mineral resource growth. We're drilling there right now. Got a lot of high-grade results outstanding in and around the high-grade mineralisation at St. Anne's. And there's the blue sky opportunity with rare earths that we're also pursuing. So over to you, Tim, for questions if you've got any.
Yeah, we've got quite a few. Thank you, Tim. Now, we've seen a lot of gold companies kind of venturing into this rare earths. So how do you manage this process or different process alongside each other in Circle Valley, for example? Yeah,
look, I mean, the whole reason we went down there originally was to drill for gold, and that was very successful. The rare earths came out of some of the multi-element work we did looking for gold, so we weren't specifically targeting rare earths. But when we got the results, it highlighted the fact that there were these very high-grade clay-type rare earths present. We saw the massive opportunity available given the geopolitics around trying to move production of rare earths away from China, and these things can be hugely valuable if you've got them in the right jurisdiction, and certainly Western Australia is a fantastic jurisdiction to have them. So look, it's something we weren't targeting. We're very pleased that we've got them. Eventually, we'll keep working on them and build up our understanding and the scale of these projects, and then we'll look to separate both the gold business and the rare earths, and give the rare earths their own vehicle and ability to raise capital and progress forward. But that's not going to happen in the immediate term. It's probably 12 to 18 months away.
Makes sense. And looking at the Murchison assets, there's a question here: how do you see exploration and development progressing from here, and kind of what deposits do you think have the highest potential?
Yeah, look, we've been really pleased by the results coming out of the drilling at St. Anne's, which is, that looks to be significant scale there. We were happy when we were getting sort of results of 20 to 30 metre wide zones of ore at 2 to 5 grams per tonne. The results we put out this week were just extraordinary and demonstrate the real opportunity there is this very high grade mineralization, and it appears to be very broad zones of this high grade mineralization as well. So 20 to 30 metre wide zones of over 15 grams per tonne. So we're very pleased with that, and the guys on site are very excited by what they're seeing. So look, we think there's extraordinary potential to grow that resource. That's we're pretty happy with the production plan, or the plan we've got to put this asset into production, and growth in that resource is just going to lead to a longer mine life and potentially a higher production profile. So that's really exciting.
And Tim, just quickly to finish up, like an industry question, you've got a lot of exploration ahead of you. How is the logistical environment with regards to drilling and analysis and its availability?
Yeah, look, it can be a bit frustrating at times, turnaround with assays and the like. Saying that, in the last couple of months, we've noticed that there's been a material or there's been a more availability of technical resources and field crews to do the work, drilling contractors. So that's been freed up over the last sort of 3 to 4 months, and that's something we've certainly noticed. So we've got ready access to both labour and expertise and contractors to do the exploration work for us. So we don't see any issue with that, and certainly we think we've got a lot of exploration to do in front of us, or a lot of drilling anyway. It's not so much greenfields exploration. We know where the mineralisation is now. We just need to put the holes through it. So look, we don't anticipate any major issues or hold-ups in terms of the plans we've got to advance both our gold projects as well as the large package of work we've got planned for the rare earths.
Great, Tim. That's all we have time for. Congratulations on a cracker week. Have a good weekend, and we'll get you on again.
Thanks, Tim.